For the 2013 hunting season, I was fortunate to draw an elk tag for the early rifle hunt in New Mexico's Unit 51. In past years, I had been on 3 guided elk hunts with no results. So this time, I decided to try a do-it-yourself style hunt and to do it solo. I came prepared to either camp near my truck or to backpack out into the forest. My camp is a hammock with a front row view of the stars. One night it sleeted on me and I had to quickly get up in the middle of the night and put on my tarp. After studying Google Earth and various topo maps, I selected a location near the north end of the unit at about 10,000 feet. Much of my research focused on finding the secret water holes, which are important to the elk. At this first camp, heavy rains had turned every low spot into a pond and every rut in the road into a watering trough, so the elk did not come out into the open to drink. The forest was much thicker than it had appeared on Google Earth, so the hunting here was going to be extremely difficult. The mountains and meadows were beautiful and peaceful, and the spot I found was so remote there was nobody else around. At night I heard an elk bull bugle, and it was answered by the bellows of grazing cattle. But hunting solo was much more challenging emotionally than I expected. I missed having a partner with whom to talk over hunting strategies. After 2 days of scouting, the season opened with a cold snap in the weather. I sat quietly in 15-degree weather and saw no elk on the huge meadow that stretched before me. I slow walked through the timber looking for the elk that had bugled, but no luck. About 5 minutes ago, I was cleaning up dishes from breakfast and I heard some thundering footsteps. And I stepped around the side of the truck. Right there on the road were several cows, elk, and then a bull elk stood right out in the open staring at me. And oh man, so when I came back from hunting this morning, I had leaned my gun against the log there. So I snuck around the side of the truck, peeked up over here, and they're still looking at me in there. So I got down on my hands and knees trying to get over to this gun. And about the time I got here, they spooked and took off. Oh my goodness, they ran right through camp basically. After 3 days in the higher elevations, I decided to relocate my camp to the other side of the unit. I guessed there had been less rain in these lower elevations and hoped the ponds there would concentrate the elk and improve my chances. Crossing the unit, I got lost twice as I tried to match up the roads on my maps with the actual roads I was finding. The maps really let me down. I knew where I wanted to go, but I just couldn't find the roads that would get me there. I wanted to get off the main roads, so I took the seldom used logging roads, but these had some obstacles. I'm a little tired of scratching up my truck, so you see the clippers I brought here. I wanted to show you this little tunnel of trees that I've created here now with plenty of clearance so that I don't need to scratch up my truck anymore. The other problem I encountered was a gigantic mud hole that covered the road at a creek crossing. Several vehicles had gotten trapped in it, and being by myself in a remote place, I really couldn't risk getting stuck. But I also didn't want to turn around and go back. I stood over it and considered my chances for quite some time. And the decision has been made by a vote of 1-0 to navigate through this mud hole. Since this is something of some curiosity, no doubt, I'm going to set up my tripod and leave the camera running and film the event. And you'll all get to witness this at home. Well, we made it, but that is a mess now. Guess the only thing I hadn't anticipated is the depth of it between. So you can see how deep the rut is. I hope that's over a foot deep now. And there, that. So when the wheels were down, I think I hit the front of the truck a little bit coming out of it. So maybe we'll try to go back another way. Yeah, and just to confirm my suspicions, here's the front of the truck. Looks like I did bend in my bumper and my license plate. Sustained a little body damage. So I think we'll be going back a different direction. When I ran out of daylight, I had no idea where I was. I just pulled off to the side of the road and set up camp. That night I heard an elk bugle from the forest, giving me hope that I had stumbled into a good spot. The next morning, I decided to just hunt from where I had parked. As dawn lightened the sky, I headed out on foot along the same lumber road. Look at this wonderful meadow I found. It extended for over a half mile and had several ponds out in the middle. But as you can see, cattle grazing the area had completely mowed it to the ground like a golf course green. I walked on for about 4 miles and found several more beautiful ponds. It looked like a fabulous area to hunt, so I decided to make it my permanent camp. So here was my strategy over the next couple days. In the mornings and evenings, I hid along the meadows, hoping to find elk coming out to feed. Unfortunately, all I saw were deer. Then, during the middle of the day, I crept silently from pond to pond and through the dark timber. After a couple days, I still hadn't seen any elk. And after considering the fact the elk weren't drinking during the day, I figured they had to be thirsty in the evening. So on the third evening, I changed my strategy and hid near the most secluded pond. This is the third night of the hunt, and I've decided to set up over this water hole here. It's kind of a swampy area, hoping that after a hot, dry day, they're going to want to come down here and drink. About a half hour before dark, a deep elk bugle resounded about 100 yards away. 15 minutes later, there was a bugle even closer. With daylight waning, I knew I had to go find him, so I left my spot and headed toward the bugle. After just a few steps, a herd of elk erupted from the forest with a huge crashing sound and headed straight toward my pond. Through a narrow opening, I saw flashes of the animals as they approached. A cow, then a spike, a cow, and then the large rack of a mature bull. Just as I saw him, the lead cow cleared the brush into an opening about 25 yards away and headed down the path I was coming up. When we came face to face, she bolted, creating chaos with the other elk at the top of the trail. I was so afraid the bull would spook away too, but I trained my gun on the clearing, hoping the bull would take a few more steps into the opening before he took off. And he did. I just shot an elk. And they walked out of the bushes right behind me. A bunch of cows. And then this big boy came right behind them. Probably 25 yards. One shot. Oh my goodness. Oh, he's beautiful. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. He's right on the road too. I can drive right to him. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's huge. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, he's huge. Oh, he was so close to me. Yeah. Oh, so close. 25 yards. Oh my goodness. He's still got a little kick in him. Oh my goodness. Oh, I did it. I can't believe it. Still breathing. He's kind of trying to get up here, isn't he? I really don't want to shoot him again. Maybe I should. I put another shot into his chest. And I got a lung, obviously. And he is definitely dying now. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. In case you can't see, that's the road that I can drive up to. So I'll have the truck just a few feet away. This was my first elk, and I was completely in awe of the moment. After a week alone in the forest trying to figure out these animals, I had finally done it. After pictures, I caped and field dressed the animal in the dark and freezing cold. It was the first time I'd ever caped an animal or dressed it by myself. I finished up at 2 a.m. after 7 hours, but I loved every minute of it. The satisfaction of planning and executing this successful solo hunt is certainly at the top of the list of my many adventures. What a sense of achievement! There may be future hunts when a guide is necessary, but my typical hunt will certainly be self-guided from now on.